بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back. Hope you did well in your exams and happy Ramadan inshallah. We're going to make a quick review over the quiz Dawah tips and techniques, the last quiz we had before your exams. We are going to make this review and try to recap about the last session we had through reviewing the quiz, and we're going to discuss what next session inshallah will be about. So our first question was the first step for Dawah conversation, which is to attract the hearts. And I'm going to remind you of the previous session. As we said, first to attract the hearts, then inform, then assign. So our first step was to attract the hearts. Second question was examples of kick-off questions are. Of course, if we ask this question, do you have any question about Islam? So this will be a closed question. He will answer just no, I don't have a question. So it will be awkward to continue. How do you feel about Islam is the kick-off question. Would you like to have a book about Islam? If he replied no, so this answer and the first answer and second answer don't work. So the correct answer is, how do you feel about Islam? All questions mentioned above could be used. No, not all questions mentioned above could be used, because as we said, closed-ended question like the first one and the second one, if the answer is no, you will not be able to continue with him the conversation about Islam. So it must be like this: how do you feel about Islam? For example, it must be an open-ended questions. Don't use closed-ended questions in order to start a conversation. Non-Muslims saying why Muslims don't apply Islamic teachings. Okay, this is a bit tricky. The first answer, what you need to understand that in order to judge, we need to view religion from its source. Okay, we need to view religion from its source, actually is correct, but what is wrong here, the word saying what you need to understand. As we said, we can't use this word, what you need to understand, like he is a stupid person, for example, he doesn't understand. So it could be fed like that, so we can't use it. The correct answer is Muslims are not the base, instead view Islam from its source. And of course we can say no, starting a reply. You are making da'wah to two friends of yours and they are very close to Islam. The best thing to do, as we said, to speak each one individually. This is the best da'wah one-to-one. Our main goal is this was a perfect answer for all, to have conversations about Islam. Distributing pamphlets and performing da'wah in public is also a good thing, but our main goal is to have a conversation. Speaking to a non-Muslim about Islam, keeps looking in his watch, and most people answer correctly is to change the subject and try to take agreement. Speaking about Islam, and he said that why Muslim have a beard, to direct the conversation back to the concept of Islam. And as we said before, don't answer the misconception directly. We first need to explain the concept of Islam first. Asking people to embrace Islam. Okay, it is not our responsibility, as we said, to convince. Our responsibility is to make an effort and convey the message. But as we said, we need to get the prize. We need to have focus also on people embracing Islam, because it's saving them from hellfire on Judgment Day. So at the end of every conversation, no, because some people, for instance, the first time he hears about Islam, and nowadays it will be difficult for him for the first time to hear about Islam and take his shahada. No, it's very minor to happen. So it's not the first one. Okay, never ask for it, and unfortunately many people have answered that they should be asking for it. We only convey. Yes, we only convey, but it doesn't implement that we let the whole issue on their backs, on their shoulder. No, we also have a responsibility to try to get them closer to making the shahada. Imagine that you are in a house and on fire. Would you leave the other people burning? No, you will try to knock the doors, trying to wake up people because there's a fire. So no, it is asked to truth seekers, people who are interested, people who are asking, people who have positive impact of your conversation, these people you need to ask them to take the shahada. Okay, and we are going to illustrate more how to reach this part. Okay, but we ask for it. Never ask for it. No, we ask for it. Examples of indirect da'wah: acts of worship in public, of course, wearing da'wah t-shirts, posters and distributing brochures is considered direct. If you're asking for some misconception during the conversation, you direct the conversation to present Islam. You don't answer the misconception, you direct the conversation to present the concept of Islam and then answer his misconception. Ask a question you don't know the answer, learn what you are missing and continue practicing. Of course, phrases to attract non-Muslims, all answers the correct answer. What is the purpose of life? Ask about Islam, fi Quran, true happiness is a bit, boring titles. Choose who to speak to varies according to what they are doing. Of course, people on the phone, people eating will not be interested in your conversation. You need to choose the right time and right people. While doing da'wah, the speaker should be looking at the non-Muslim, but not ignoring the Muslim. It is not evenly, because we need to focus on the non-Muslim, but not like 100%. You can say like 80% of the time you are looking at the non-Muslim, and 20% of the time you are looking to your friend in da'wah. Please select what we as Muslim can accept and agree. While doing da'wah conversation, some Muslims have improper attitude, we agree. Not all Muslims wear hijab. You should improve your da'wah methods. The aim of this question is that some issues mentioned by the non-Muslim that we are able to agree with, so just agree with him, don't try to negotiate every point. Of course, giving books and brochures to every faith. Acts of worship in public is best done in a group. Any act of da'wah is best done in a group. Even acts of worship, praying in a group, it's better than praying individually. So doing acts of worship in a group in public, it's best done in a group, not individually. Of course, you can do it individually, and it's also considered da'wah, but it is better to be in public, better to be in a group, have more effect. What are the 3 tips of da'wah conversation? These: attract the heart, inform and assign. Most people answered correctly, but of course it's not starting, during and closing. When you try to start a conversation, thank you, I'm not religious, you have 2 options: either speak about cultural exchange or speak about the purpose of life. When you try to start a conversation with a Muslim, thank you, I am Christian. Of course you will reply speaking about Jesus. We perform salah 5 times on a daily basis. Okay, what's wrong here? We have 2 issues, but unfortunately only none mentioned both issues. Okay, the first issue that he said and as we said, we should say Muslims, speak about Islam as if you are a third party. And second, you say salah. Salah is not an English word. Okay, for a non-Muslim, salah doesn't have a meaning, so it should say Muslims perform prayer 5 times on a daily basis. So it's needs to change, and salah. At the end of conversation, wants to shake hands with you, and all answers were correct. Having tried to maintain modest interaction between opposite genders, explain how Islam has regulated the interaction between the male and females. Mention way to make the conversation a dialogue and not a monologue. As we said, to take agreement during the conversation, show interest in their ideas, try to engage him in the conversation. Okay, this was the quiz, and this was the last session we took before your exams. Next session, inshallah, okay, we will answer the question: if someone tells you what is Islam, how do you respond? How to speak about God, how to speak about the hereafter, how to speak about worshipping. We need to have like a default paragraphs, a default script in order to explain Islam, and by the time you can make improvements to the script. So next time, inshallah, we will discuss this script and how to present Islam and reply to this question, inshallah. Subhanallah, bihamdik, shadu la anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.